14 or 13 individuals, Mexican Mafia affiliated. But not only were they Mexican Mafia affiliated, they were part of the Sinaloa cartel as well. They were selling drugs, fentanyl, opioids, pills for the Sinaloa cartel that was connected to one of the oldest gangs in the streets of Los Angeles in the Harvard area, Rancho San Pedro. They say this is one of the most active gangs in the Harvard area since they date them back to the 1950s. And since that gang has originated, a lot of news medias and articles describe, and a couple other street blogs describe that this gang, since it's been created for the southern population, for southern Hispanics, that they've been tied to the Mexican Mafia since the beginning of time. And throughout the years became one of the most violent and most active, aggressive gang members in the Los Angeles area, whether it was going to war with Southerners, going to war with blacks, going to war with cops. The last individual that got indicted, he went by the name of Stretch. And I'm showing you the article. He was out there selling Oxycontin and a hell of different pharmaceutical pills, mostly opioid pills, downers. And he got sentenced to like 20-something years in prison, like 100-something months. Don't quote me on my math. I'm not really good at math. I got my GED, but I'm not really good at math. That was the last time an individual from Rancho San Pedro got busted working on behalf of the Mexican Mafia selling opioid pills to the streets, pharmaceutical drugs to the streets. We also can't forget about other indictment. A lot of gang members from the same gang, Rancho San Pedro, which is one of the largest gangs. They said they have an estimated over 500 gang members. That's a big gang right there, 500 gang members. How do you even keep track of who your homies really are? I can see a little pandillero, a little pandilla, 30, 50, maybe 60. But a gang that's broken off into so many other different gangs, but when you consolidate them as one, it's over 500 estimated gang members. That is a lot of goddamn gang members, if you ask me, for one gang, bro. Like, I would see why they would politic and kill each other all day. There's too many of them that are all fighting for the same attention, for another man's attention, another Mexican Mafia member who's isolated in the penal system. We can't forget that a Mexican Mafia member, longtime Mexican Mafia member, Stoney, from Rancho San Pedro. He's a Mexican Mafia member who's in a wheelchair, who gets wheeled around on the prison yard all day, but yet he has control of over 500 gang members in the Harvard area. Now, I hardly ever talk about Stoney. I mentioned Stoney a few times and on a few different occasions that's been in control. But the one aspect I can tell you about that's not going to make a lot of sense to you is that he's too old. He's too fragile, he's in a wheelchair, but yet the man has a heavy voice, he has a heavy palabra and a heavy hand, and he's very powerful still for a man that's in a wheelchair. He gets escorted by an entourage, people push him around in a chair, out of, paying their respects and their homage to their padrino, to their, their godfather, their tío. But he doesn't have access because he doesn't know how to use, I guess you could say, digital stuff, digital technology. He's not really good at using a cell phone. He's not really good at, using the tablets. He doesn't really have nobody looking out for him. So he utilizes his prison status, his stature, the Mexican Mafia stature, to, keep him well-funded and well-fed until he dies. So basically, we have 500 different gang members working for different Mexican Mafia members.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining
members, but the people that do answer to Stoney, it's a trip, right? Like I said, he doesn't know how to use a cell phone. He does utilize 3 or 4 different Mexican Mafia brothers that he has close ties with, and he has them utilize their soldiers to collect from his soldiers that they're answering to. That's a trip, right? So basically, he doesn't have the capability to collect his own money. There was different stories and different occasions that I never mentioned where Güero Caballo used 18th Street gang members to collect his feria and get it to him. Federico from Bassett has also helped Stoney collect his feria and get it to him. There was occasions Snuffy was helping Stoney, and then he wound up backdooring Stoney. There was an internal war that went on between Stoney and Snuffy a long time ago. I didn't have all the details, so I didn't create a whole video, but it had a lot to do, and I had mentioned it in my videos about Snuffy, about him allegedly backdooring and robbing some of Stoney's casitas on the streets. Go watch my old videos, and about a year and a half ago, I told you guys those stories. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are thinking like, man, this Mexican Mafia bust sounds real related to the information that you have. It's really not. I'm telling you guys what people are telling me from the penal systems, from the streets. Law enforcement is going to connect this their own way. They're not going to base it on my word, on my palabra, on my YouTube videos. They're not. It's not substantial evidence. But in this particular case, these guys were selling ghost guns, methamphetamine, opiates, pills, laundering money, and were working with the Mexican drug cartel. And it's a trip, right, for an investigation that went on for more than 4 years. This investigation has been going on for 4 years. And all they had enough for was a 13-man bust. That's the part that kind of confuses me. You've been investigating these Mexican Mafia members for so long, for years. You let them operate with that much power and control over the streets of Los Angeles and Southern California. And when you finally do a bust, saying, man, we're going to crack down on the Mexican Mafia, we're going to cut the head off the snake, you really didn't cut the head off the snake. All these articles that I've ever done in regards to these Mexican Mafia indictments, they always saying the same thing. We're going after the head of the snake. No, Mexican Mafia members are not getting indicted and not getting shipped to the feds and getting their whole power source and their outlets cut off. No, it's just, you're just indicting 13 gang members on federal charges on RICO Act violations. Dude, them 13 gang members that you just snatched up are going to be replaced by the end of the week because these guys in prison got cell phones. In case you didn't notice. There's so many wiretaps that are online that have been published by other YouTubers that clearly indicate these dudes got access to cell phones. So every time you indict 13 or 14 Southerners, as deep as they are, bro, there's 13 or 14 Southerners willing to take those spots. That have been waiting to take those spots. These guys have a vast amount of foot soldiers at their disposal. And you really think indicting 13 members, wasting that much taxpayer dollars, you're about to waste the court system's time and its money and taxpayer dollars' money to indict 13 individuals who probably accepted a phone call, transferred some money, turned some green dots into some money orders. What else did they really do? Sell some pounds, sell some dope, sell some pills, call the Mexican cartel every now and then. Yeah, it looks like a significant blow to the organization, but look at it from a deeper sense. Mexican Mafia utilizing its foot soldiers, and they were working for the Sinaloa cartel on behalf of the Mexican Mafia. There's bigger power players that you could attack and go after. Instead, you indict 13 regular Mexican Mafia affiliated gang members from the harbor area, thinking that made a big difference. You're not cutting off the head of the snake because the head of the snake all resides in the state prison system. The head of the snake is working hand in hand with other heads of snakes, Sinaloa cartel, and all you're indicting are people that can be replaced anyways. I don't see the big difference that you're really making when it comes to law enforcement. But in accordance to the articles, in accordance to the news media, man, this was a major crackdown.